You're listening to the Stephen A. Smith Show podcast.
And on the line with us right now, as promised, is the one and only Alex Rodriguez. Alex, are you there, sir?
What's up, Stephen A?
I tell you, man, I got a problem with you, man. Let me tell you what my problem is with you, Alex Rodriguez. I saw you this morning on television. You were looking pretty damn good, man. The suit was pretty fly, okay? The suit was pretty fly. I've been watching you on television doing your baseball stuff. I don't know if I'm going to allow you on the show after the day because I think you're trying to steal a few jobs, man. I think you're trying to steal a few television jobs.
Well, you're the king of TV, so trying to follow your lead, my brother.
I feel you. I appreciate it, man. Let's get right to it because got a whole bunch of baseball stuff to get into. This series this weekend, Yankees, Red Sox, you'll be calling Game 3 Sunday night with Matt and Jessica. How big of a series is this considering the fact that we haven't even reached the All-Star break yet?
Well, it's the biggest series I can remember for a long time regular season. And the reason why is you have the two Goliaths going up against each other. You have the Yankees that are worth $4 billion. They're making $700 million revenue. You have the Red Sox that are worth $3 billion. They're making almost $500 million in revenue. And they lead in every category, not just economics, but also in power, in pitching, in young talent. But they have real stars with J.D. Martinez and Mookie Betts and Aaron Judge and Stanton. I mean, this is full. You're going to have 3 days sold out, and the biggest two starts in Severino's career and so far in David Price's career as a Red Sox is huge.
And you bring up Price. Are we a believer in Price, or is it one of those situations where, damn it, he can't ever stay healthy when it really, really counts? He's not going to be available to you. What's the mentality about Price in Boston?
I think the jury's still out. It's been a mixed bag. But Price is a guy that used to be a north and south pitcher. He depended on a 98-mile-an-hour fastball, and he would try to throw it right down the middle, and it was good enough because a lot of lefties are not throwing 98. The problem that I see now with Price, he's a 91 to 93, so he's depending on command. Fastballs both sides of the plate, a lot more east and west, not north and south, and command of his cutter, both inside to righties and backdoor to righties, is the key for him. If he's not on, what happens, Stephen A., is that he goes 1 inning, 3 hits, 4 runs, 2 base on balls, like he did against his last start against the Yankees. So this start, there's a lot of recourse.
Who has the best pitching in your mind? I'm talking about over the long haul. I'm talking about looking at the season as we progress forward, thinking about what the season entails, and you would know what a season entails. Who has the best pitching staff to rely upon between these two teams?
I mean, I don't think there's a question. It's the Houston Astros. I mean, they're on a historic pace. They're going to go down, Stephen A., if they keep this up as arguably one of the best, if not the best, 5 guys, if they stay healthy, of all time. Where they're weak is their bullpen. And I know Jeff Luna, who went out and got Verlander last year, he is looking around searching to go get a top guy to close games.
I was talking about Boston and New York, though, because I know Houston definitely has the best rotation. I'm talking about between Boston and the Yankees as we look forward to them battling for American League East supremacy, because I'm getting to a point here. Who do you think you can rely upon as a pitching staff, the Yankees or the Red Sox?
Well, I think if you go starting pitching, you give a little bit of an advantage to the Red Sox. And the big key for them is David Price, because if David Price, they have better, stronger, deeper starting pitching than the Yankees. The Yankees have a far much better, superior bullpen. They have the best bullpen in the game by far. They literally have 4 closers in the bullpen. Of course, Chapman gets that responsibility. But David Price is interesting, Stephen A., because he's pitching Game 3, and this is a foreshadowing of what's going to happen in October. He will be the Game 3 pitcher. Sale will be 1. The right-hander in the middle with Parcello, and then, Game 3 would be Price. And Joe Torre used to always tell us he wants his best, most clutch pitcher pitching Game 3 because it's a swing game. That's why he always threw Andy Pettitte Game 3. It worked out, 5 championships.
The one and only Alex Rodriguez right here with Stephen A. on ESPN Radio. Before I get, I got to, because I'm going to get into Houston in just a second. There's a couple of questions I want to ask you. One about the Yankees and one about the wild card, because obviously the Yankees and Red Sox both are on par to win 100 games this year at least, and one of them is going to end up being a wild card. I hate that, but I'll talk to you about that in a second. Answer this question for me. What was your initial reaction when Girardi was gone and Boone became the manager for the New York Yankees? And where are you now? How are you feeling about him now? And what were your expectations of this new managerial move when it happened, when it went down?
Yeah, so I was a bit surprised, but I think the long story, short story for Girardi is he did an incredible job over 10 years, and unfortunately for him, he was just 27 outs away from going to the World Series in pursuit of a second championship as a manager. So I was a bit surprised. I think a guy like Boone is the great hybrid of old school, new school. He understands numbers, but also understands that it's played by human beings, and there's an unpredictability with that. And it's interesting that these two managers are both rookie managers and are doing an incredible job. But Stephen A., the common denominator with both franchises is they have all-stars running their team. And what I mean by that is Brian Cashman and Dombrowski. And it's going to come down to those two guys to see who's going to do what, because the spotlight is on both of them. Both of them have a flair for the dramatics. In 16, it was Theo Epstein with Chapman. In 17, it was Jeff Luhnow with Verlander. Who is it going to be this year, Stephen A.? Who is it going to be?
Alex Rodriguez, you're getting me worried because initially my attitude was, look, this is a no-brainer. Yankees are going to handle their business. They've got Judge, they've got Stanton, they've got Sanchez, and all of these boys. But I damn sure didn't expect Boston to look the way that they've looked this year. And now that we're coming down to it, I mean, with the break about to come on, we're talking a situation where the New York Yankees and the Red Sox are perceived as being two teams that's going to win in triple digits. Yet one of them is going to be a wild card, and you got the one-game play-in. I despise that, Alex Rodriguez. I hate it. I think they need to do away with it. I think the first round should be, I think it should be at least a best of three for the wild card spot. I really believe that. What are your thoughts about that?
It is scary when you run a marathon for 8 months and then literally you take one jump shot. And they say, if you make it, you advance. If you miss, you go home. It is incredible recourse after fighting and doing so much over 8 months. I think is great for the game, Stephen A., as far as because there is no longer can you go and just say, I'm going to start lining up my pitchers from early September. I think your side of it is, which I understand is, boy, it would be awful if both teams are on pace to win 105 games today, that these two teams cannot, essentially be battling for the world championship in the ALCS because one of them is going home.
But look at it this way, Alex. Look, man, I'm on TV today, okay? I mean, while you were sitting there looking all pretty with your fly suit on, over there in South Street Seaport, I'm on the air shortly after. Damn it, I had a stomach ache about 3 hours ago. If this was 3 hours ago, I'd have had a hard time doing a radio show, let alone being out there playing. My point is, anything can happen in one day. That's not a real recipe for success. That's not some real indication as to whether or not the better team is going to win or whatever. You're giving anybody a chance if you're going by just one night, aren't you?
It's crazy, and regardless of how good the Red Sox or the Yankees are, if you run into a pitcher that's red hot like a Madison Bumgarner, you're going home. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. And that I see the recourse. It would be gut-wrenching to see, for both fan bases, to see their team go home after winning 105 games. Boy, that would be a tragedy.
Alex Rodriguez right here with Stephen A. on ESPN Radio. A couple of other subjects. Let's go back to the Houston Astros. To me, they're the reigning defending World Series champions. They're clearly the team to beat because I'm not going to lie to you. I don't care about, I know numbers matter, but when I think about studs, I think about somebody like Justin Verlander. And to me, if I had to give the ball to one person with the money on the line, that's the guy I'm picking. Who you picking?
He's the guy. I mean, first of all, Houston is better this year. They have the best big game pitcher in the game. He's got experience. He's got power. He's got 5 dominant pitches, and he's getting better with age. The other thing is the reason why they're better is they're young crop. They're all better players. They're all 1 year older, and now they have Garrett Cole to back up Verlander. They're a powerhouse, and if they get a closer, they are by far the favorites to win everything.
What team do you think is best suited? the best suited to beat the Houston Astros in the American League? Who's the one opponent that will give them more trouble than anybody else?
Well, I would have to say the Yankees. I think the Yankees, they feel very familiar with them. I think they're playing better against them as of late. The problem is they have right-handed power pitching that neutralizes a lot of our big power hitters like Stanton and Judge and Sanchez. So I still think that the Yankees, if they get one more starter to go up against their top three, could be really interesting. But that would be an unbelievable matchup.
Explain to me, why is J.D. Martinez's numbers so much better than Giancarlo Stanton's right now?
Well, I think J.D. Martinez, I played a game against J.D. when he was with the Tigers years ago, and he had 3 home runs at the stadium, one to left, one to center. The third one was to right field in the upper deck. And it was then that I realized this guy is a star and a superstar in the making. But, you know, nobody in the planet is going to forget about Big Papi or replace Big Papi. But what this guy is doing his best attempt to fill some of those shoes that were not filled last year. There was a big hole in that lineup last year. What he's done, he's hitting with power. He's driving in runs. He's hitting for average. He's making great contact. But the other thing, he's a gym rat. He's the first one at the park, last one to go home. And like what he did in Arizona, he is making players around him better. Stephen A., this guy goes to the stadium. He goes to the batting cage at 10 a.m. in the morning. He comes back at 1. He goes there again. And after the games, he goes back in and takes another 50 or 100 swings. He is the Larry Bird of today's game. He is a gym rat.
You know, I'm looking at, and I'm sticking with the Yankees for just a quick second before I move on. We got Judge batting 277. We got Stanton batting 265. But you know, I noticed J.D. Martinez has struck out 77 times this year. Stanton's at 107. Judge is at 105. How concerned should Yankee fans be that these guys just ain't going to be able to get it done when you strike out so prolifically, as both of them did last year, by the way?
Yeah, I think strikeouts are always a big concern. If you think about the last two out of the last 3 championships, Kansas City in 2015, number 1 in contact. Last year, Houston Astros, number 1 in contact. And in October, putting the ball in play, being able to have a diverse way of attacking defenses. Look, all these shifts, the way you beat them is by bunting, by hitting and running, by putting the ball in play. They're not meant for double steals. They're meant to defend slow, predictable, bloated offenses that if there's 27 outs is easy math, Stephen A. If you're striking out 18 or 20 times, that means you can catch 7 balls and you win the game. That's like Little League. So if you're putting the ball in play 20, 22 times, they don't want that much action. So, yes, it's concerning. And the other thing about Dombrowski and J.D. Martinez that was brilliant, if you think about the contract, he was late to the party, and now he has become the party. Dombrowski held his ground, and signed him for a very favorable contract, $110 million. If you think about Stanton, over $320 million, the Yankees are only inheriting about $260 of that. But value, there's no better value in today's game than J.D. Martinez. Props to Dave Dombrowski.
Alex Rodriguez right here with Stephen A. on ESPN Radio. Just a couple of questions before I let you go. Who's the best player in baseball right now? Is it easily Mike Trout?
Is Mike Trout, and he's getting better by the minute. You know, my wish is that a guy like Mike Trout is revealed more and his greatness actually comes out. You know, in today's game, if you have a guy like Mike Trout walking down Madison Avenue, if 2 or 3 people out of 10 recognize him, that's a lot. And for me, that's a problem because everybody in the world should know who Mike Trout is. Not only is he the best player in the game, but he's also an incredible human being, an ambassador, and a great kid with great parents.
But why
right
is it
here
a problem?
From New Jersey.
But why is it a problem? Why do you think it's a problem? In terms of them not knowing him.
If you think about Tom Brady in the NFL or LeBron, it's almost like 9 out of 10 or 10 out of 10. So if our LeBron James, who's Mike Trout, if you have 2, 1, or 3 out of 10, that's not enough. When I came up in the game, it was Griffey, it was Bonds, it was Randy Johnson. Everybody knew Ken Griffey. He was the Michael Jordan of our game, and we played in Seattle together. So that's something that I would love the game to really connect with the next generation of youngsters.
So is that your way of saying that the Major League Baseball needs to do a better job of ingratiating itself with the younger generation of players? Is that where your mindset is?
I mean, I think you can say that for every league. Yeah, I mean, you want market share. You want more young people. I mean, I want more personality. When we go to different markets, if we go to San Francisco, I love to get Steph Curry up in the booth for half an inning and tell us how much he loves baseball. Kobe Bryant in L.A. I wish on Sunday we had Tom Brady up there talking about his love of baseball. Because, guys, Stephen A., just like you text me, I have these guys texting me. They're watching. They're paying attention. Well, damn, get on television, tell us how much you love baseball, and bring your audience with you.
But it also helps with the players in baseball, too, A-Rob, because whereas Mike Trout may not have that kind of personality, I don't think Bryce Harper has any problem being known wherever he goes. Do you?
No, I don't think so. But it will never compare to where NFL and NBA is today. And I think while we're getting better, I think we can continue to do a much better job. I want to know what school you go to, your favorite band. I want to see your Instagram account. When I watch television, the medium is really important to connect to the player. If I'm just seeing numbers up there is one thing. The other thing is I want to see live cameras on the park. I want to look at my app and see what Mike Trout is doing at 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock. I want the young kids to be obsessed with Harper and see the work. See the T-work. See how they lift weight. That's the only way you're going to fall in love and get hooked again.
Well, here's my challenge to Alex Rodriguez. What are you doing about that? Because guess what? Everything that you've done, all the things that you've been through in the sport of baseball, now you're on television doing a hell of a job, by the way. You know all of these athletes. You try to promote the sport, for crying out loud. You're doing a great job of that. What is it that Alex Rodriguez can do? I mean, listen, right now, you know what I think when it comes to baseball, your box office. You should be seen on TV more as far as I'm concerned. I don't see you enough. I hear you all the time, but I don't see Alex Rodriguez enough. What are you going to do about that? What are you going to do about it?
Well, I don't know. I mean, again, I love the leadership of Manfred and Petitti. I think they're doing some great things, but I do think that we have a massive opportunity to reveal more stories, to tell our stories about the game. I mean, look, you have a guy like Stanton. Here's what people don't know about Stanton. He's got parents that adopted him. They're white parents from the West Coast. He turned down scholarships from Stanford, Notre Dame, and Michigan to play football, to play baseball at a smaller college. These are all stories that need to be told. And I mean, Stanton, I looked at him yesterday, and he could be playing in the NFL, NBA. He's a beautiful athlete. Even Stanton, Judge, as big as they are, they can be much larger by revealing these great stories.
Last question for you. Are you sitting down for this one? Are you ready for this?
I'm sitting down.
It's a 162-game regular season. I say, how about reducing the season from 162 to about 140 and make every playoff series a 7-game series?
Okay. Now you're talking.
How you like that?
I don't mind it. I like it. And here's what I like better. As long as you can convince 30 owners that the industry's gone from $1 billion to $10 billion, that is not going to affect their bottom line, I think you have something. Because when you speak to owners, first you got to start in the pocket and work yourself up to the brain and the heart.
Alex Rodriguez, I'm looking forward to listening to you Sunday night for this Yankees-Red Sox matchup. Keep doing great work, my man. Good talking to you.
Thanks, Stephen. I appreciate it.
No problem, buddy. One and only Alex Rodriguez right here with Stephen A. on ESPN Radio. 888-SAY-ESPN. That's 888-729-3776. If you're wondering, Stephen A., why didn't you ask him anything about PT? No, I'm not doing that. Why am I not doing that? Because I've asked him before, as has everybody's asked him before. We all make mistakes. We move on. You know, see, even when you deserve to be crucified at one moment in time, eventually you get to a point where you move on. It was a long time ago. He ain't playing anymore. He's broadcasting, doing a hell of a job doing broadcasting, by the way. Major League Baseball has moved past it. Television networks have moved past it. I'll be damned if I'm going to hold on to it. We've talked about it enough. I think he's doing a great job calling baseball for ESPN, doing baseball stuff for Fox still. I can't believe I forgot to ask him about his show on CNBC where he's trying to help athletes keep their money. He would know. So all of these things are things that he's doing. I applaud him for it and then some. Alex Rodriguez right here with Stephen A. on ESPN Radio.
Craving even more of Stephen A?
Him of all people.
For around-the-clock access to the man?
I'm Stephen A.
You can follow him on Twitter and Instagram at Stephen A. Smith and on Facebook at Stephen A.